pit exit open. That means you will join us here at the famous, the legendary grid walk. Welcome to the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship here at Slovakia, and the fans, all the phones up. They're trying to get the best pictures, but we do have the best pictures, of course, every time for you, because you are joining us on our live stream, and we're so happy to be back here at the Slovakia ring right after the qualifications. And yes, be careful, Fleischy, our cameraman, because there's someone behind him. It was a driver, but I will not tell you who it was. But right now, the mood is very, very good. The temperature is up high to 24 degrees something, and it's getting really hot here on the pit lane. But yeah, we're so happy to see all the fans back. And right now, we want to show you some pictures of our qualifying with a little surprise in it.
Yes, indeed, qualifying was an interesting affair once again here at the Slovakia ring. It always is a very tough session for the drivers. This long circuit with its sweeping, smooth corners can be a colossal challenge to maintain a balance in your racing machine. It was Norbert Kish that went fastest in the initial qualifying session, but then after that went even quicker in Superpole. Although, to be fair, he wasn't too happy with his performance over the course of Superpole. It was John Newell and Mark Taylor that we lost in the first part of the session, those two just outside of the top 10. But John and Mark did a great job at pushing on and on as the session continued to get faster and faster and always improve. And that's what our British drivers are looking forward to doing as the season goes on. Plenty of wonderful shots in the pit lane while the rest of the field waited to go back out for Superpole. Unfortunately, like I say, Mark and John not able to make it through into the top 10. But it was Norbert Kish and Jochen Hahn that were at the front of the pack, ready to go once again. And everybody was waiting with bated breath to get the final times on the board. And with such a long lap round here at the Slovakia ring, it was going to be a big challenge for anyone to do more than one flying lap with an outlap and an inlap either side of it. Steffi Halm was pushing on and would eventually end up 8th on the grid behind Andre Kurzim. She was unable to get a time in at the end to improve, despite pushing on during the cool-down laps. Stefan Faas was certainly pushing on as well. He wanted to make sure that he could try and improve as best as he could, but 9th place was all he could manage, and he will start from the 5th row of the grid alongside Louis Rykwenko. It's going to be a great first race of the day, though, and we're all really looking forward to it here at the Slovakia ring. The temperatures and the weather, very different, though, like Christina said there. It was looking very, very hot indeed, but there's also a lot of grey cloud around, so we don't quite know what it's going to do next, do we, Christina?
Absolutely not. So we do not know whether the weather is going, but we do clearly know that we're here with Antonio Albacete. And of course, my question is how to achieve continuity. How to achieve continuity after your great performance at Misano.
Well, I hope we can continue in that way, you know. Yeah, I mean, our goal is to take in points, you know. We need to try to take as much points. And yeah, I mean, we are closer here, also in time practice, very close. So I just hope that we don't have much rain, because I think the rain is coming. So let's see. I mean, just try to keep the track until the end.
How are you prepared from these conditions? Very warm on the one hand, and then maybe the big rainy cloud is coming.
I mean, this is a factor that it comes new, you know, if it's raining. So I think nobody has prepared the track for rain. So we will see. We will see. I mean, we have to keep the track on the road. It's not going to be easy.
Absolutely, Chaz. As you can see, I'm in T-shirt as well. And let's have a look at the big, big dark cloud up there. Chaz, oh no, but you're British. You're coping with rain very well, don't you?
We absolutely do, yes, and I'm sure a lot of the guys from T-Sport Banau are ready for that as well. There's a lot of British personnel in their team, of course, British drivers out there on the grid as well. Unfortunately for everybody there at Slovakia ring, it's actually very sunny outside my window right here in the UK, so I'm loving it, to be honest. Hopefully my internet does, because it always struggles with the hot weather, but still, that's a different story. There's Andre Kurzim's machine, the Don't Touch Racing truck, behind Jamie Anderson on the grid. Jamie had a really good qualifying session, to be fair. He'll be really pleased with the result that he got out of that one. And, of course, starting right near the front of the grid on his return to the championship. It's great to have him back with us once again in the only right-hand drive truck in the field. But it's Norbert Kish and Jochen Hahn on the front row once again. But look at the size of the crowd we have here at the Slovakia ring for this weekend. There's a number of other championships as well taking place over the course of the weekend, which is nice to see. A lot of the time, the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship has such a busy schedule that we don't really share the race weekends with other championships. There's no sort of support categories, if you will, with us being the headline act. But this weekend we've got Clio's MX5 Cup, there's Formula 4's, Max Formula, Swift Cup Europe as well, and even TCR Eastern Europe, which is being covered by the wonderful people at Vega Solutions, who are, of course, the amazing force behind the broadcasting and pictures and even the commentary that you hear and see over the course of these weekends. It's lovely to see that fantastic grandstand up over the top of the start-finish straight. There's Sasha Lenz, and I could just see Jane Bigler in the background a moment ago, but I believe we're going to have a chat with Sasha now and see what he makes of starting on the second row of the grid.
The question from Chaz was, what are you doing from the second row of the grid?
We will see. I hope I have a good start. The tires are really shit for this
language.
Also, sorry, but you know, other guys like me that I speak every time what I say, you know, so I make it no different. I hope we have a good start. We can fight on the podium, and then after the race we will see if it was enough or not enough.
There's a big cloud coming up, rainy conditions, changing anything about the tires or even worse?
We cannot change anything now. Why? Yesterday we have a lot black on the. Yeah, we see. Okay, the rain is coming on, and nothing rain come. So when we change now the truck on the rain setup and the rain it's not coming, then we have a other problem, you know. So we will see. We can drive in the rain. We can drive not in the rain. So.
You're always competitive, and the fans are back here at the grid. So it's on one hand a relaxing moment, when on the other hand you're already in your focus zone. But how is it to have a chat with all the guys and girls here?
Yeah, you know, I like it when we have more people on the circuit. It's for us it's a really beautiful feeling. Then you see the guys have a lot of interesting what the racetrack is, and he can speak with the drivers. And so I think we from my side or from the side for the driver side, it's really nice that we have a lot of people here. So, and I hope we have the last season or the complete season the same.
We hope so too. Thank you very much. Whoa, what is that go flying around?
I have a question.
Yeah.
What played the HSV with Stuttgart last weekend?
And back to you, Chaz. We do not talk about football.
Congratulations.
And we do not talk about my team not making it through the relegation and staying in the second division in Germany, but still much appreciated, my club.
Well, to be fair, Christina, I share the pain. I'm a Liverpool fan over here in the UK, and my father and brother are Manchester City supporters. So I'm going to spend the evening with them watching the Champions League final, as I'm sure many people will be doing. But I've still got to accept the fact that we're going to be in the Europa League next year and not in the Champions League. I know there's a lot of British people that will probably be pointing at the TV and their screens and saying ha-ha at me right now as a Liverpool supporter. But it's fine. It's part of sport, isn't it? Anyway, great to speak to Sasha Lenz, and again, apologies for the language, everybody. I'm sure, though, while I do have to apologise for Sasha's language, I'm sure you all find it as endearing as I do. Sasha's only learned English in the last couple of years or so, and he is fantastic to interview. And as he says it exactly how it is and exactly what he's thinking, and we cannot blame him for that. I really do love Sasha. He's a fantastic character on the grid, and we have a wonderful lineup of people in this championship, and great-looking trucks, as you see here, the Rebo Canort machine of Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. He's really made strides into the Promoters' Cup already this season, certainly stamping his authority on that championship title race as he tightens the belts and prepares himself for the race ahead. It does look like there could be rain on the horizon, though. It's got that sort of shadowing about it. But by the look of it, I think we're going to be quite clear of it, to be honest with you. We'll have to wait and see. There's only one way to find out, isn't there? We're just looking now then.
Hello, everyone. And right now we do welcome everyone joining us right now here at the grid at the Slovakia ring. It is raining right now since 1 minute, and it's really tough conditions right now for the drivers, but it's going to be very much interesting. We're going to see the first race going on, and let's have a look at all the contestants here. You see already Frank in the pace truck, and yes, it's very windy and stormy right now, but we had fun during qualification, and as you can see, everyone is set, and luckily the drivers are already in their seats. So we'll have a chat right now with the pole setter, and very warm welcome from us to you there.
Yep, the rain has come. I was literally just saying then, and apologies, I cut myself off halfway through a sentence there as we went into our new TV opener. Welcome everybody from all around the world. We are really looking forward to this. The Slovakia ring is such a difficult circuit. 14 corners, it looks like a lot more than that though, doesn't it? And this near 6-kilometre circuit is a colossal leviathan of a circuit. It's massive. It takes nearly 3 minutes a lap here in our racing trucks. We don't get many laps over the course of our races, but the drivers still have a lot to think about. Many heavy braking zones, really high-speed corners, high-speed humps, and a humongous start-finish straight as well. But slipstreaming isn't the aim of the game here in truck racing. It's a very different kettle of fish due to being limited to 100 miles an hour. But would you look at the conditions? It's very different to the last time we saw this camera angle a few moments ago. And fair play to Christina and Fleischi, the cameraman, for braving the conditions. You can see it bouncing off the start-finish straight. It's that heavy already. I was just about to say that I think we've got rain coming, and then in my ear I had someone saying it is raining. It is starting to rain right now. So we are now in a very tricky situation because these trucks are all set up for a dry race. Nobody thought that the rain was actually going to come. So here it is. I mean, rain or not, flipping heck, there is a lot of it right now on the grid. These are probably the wettest conditions I've actually seen for truck racing since I started commentating on it. And it's only been raining for a couple of moments. Look at that. That is a colossal change in the weather. Christina opened our broadcast before we went live to all of you wonderful people around the world on TV. We started our YouTube live stream not long before this, and Christina was mentioning that it was suddenly 24 degrees and it was lovely and warm. But look at it. It's absolutely bouncing. This is unbelievable. It's like British weather, this. Although I say that, I look out the window here in the UK and it's a lovely day. It's clear skies. It's very sunny. How the tides can change, everybody. You lot all take the mick out of us British for having poor weather. I tell you, it's not the case today. But still, let's go back down to Christina and see how she's braving the conditions.
Thank you very much. We're right ahead of the pace truck and it's very warm here. But we talked to Rolf Werner right now and there is a delay, of course. As you can see, the rain is really smashing the gravel and it's absolutely devastating to see all of the other guys and girls flying around and trying to... Thank you very much to Andreas Ahn, who's providing us with an umbrella. We are the only lucky guys right now here with an umbrella, and we do clearly need an umbrella. But we want to take an interview to get out in the rain for you guys and girls and get an interview with the pole setter. So back to you, Chess. We're trying to have a safe walk there.
Apologies there, everybody. There's me boasting about being here in the warm weather in the UK. And, yep, typically my internet does start to struggle sometimes here in the UK with it, thanks to BT and British Telecoms for their awful copper wiring outside. Luckily, I'm getting fibre on Monday, but that's not for you lot to worry about. There is a river down the start-finish straight now, as you can see. Look at this. This is unbelievable conditions, and I tell you what, I think the drivers will be very, very happy to be in their trucks right now and not out there on the circuit and walking around and so on. But hats off to Jamie Anderson's crew, because you can see them still working around their truck as well. Sasha Lenz also has a team member there. I think T-Sport Banau also have their guys running around. And it is absolutely insane, the conditions here. It really is. Apologies if I do keep cutting out everybody. I'm going to try and push on as best I can to make sure I stay connected where I can. The start has been delayed, as Christina said a few moments ago. But this is just incredible conditions, isn't it? And in a way that we didn't expect to see this weekend. Hopefully everybody has managed to run and find cover quickly enough. But the hardy mechanics, as you can see there, know that there's no choice really but to work out in the rain itself. And they have to get the trucks set up now. They'll just adjust tyre pressures and things and make sure that there's only fine tweaks that can be done. They can't exactly go out there and change the tyres on the trucks when they're out there on the start-finish straight. They just have to make sure that any little adjustments they can make while they're already prepared to race can be made. We wait now to see just who can make the most out of these conditions, though, because there's going to be certain drivers that really struggle with this. There's going to be certain drivers that do not do so well in the wet weather, let's say. But we are going to just remain on this shot for a little bit, just while we try and get whatever connection we can, because as you can imagine, not even just at my end with the hot weather here in the UK, but also on site at the circuit, this weather can interfere with technical equipment and all sorts as well. So we'll try and bring you what we can, but this is just an amazing turn for the worst weather-wise. I mean, we'd never seen it really get this much worse this quickly. But we had some very, very dry running all weekend last year. It was over 40 degrees Celsius here at the Slovakia ring, and it was the hottest weekend that we'd had, definitely. There was a lot of issues because of that as well, with cameras and trucks overheating and all sorts. It was a real difficult weekend for everybody involved. And I mentioned cameras as well, by the way. We are supported by Vision Track this year in the 2023 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. They're a leading global provider of AI video telematics and connected fleet data. And hopefully as the season progresses, we're working on all of the background information and infrastructure to bring you pictures from their cameras as well. All of the trucks are basically equipped with these cameras where the drivers can see from behind as well. It's almost like having a rear view mirror. They do have the mirrors on the sides of the truck, but they have a little monitor just above them now where they can look up to and have as a rear view mirror. And they also use the camera angles for judicial review, so the stewards and people in race control can have a look at these certain camera angles that they need to if there are any incidents or any contact, and they can figure out exactly what happened from there. It's great to have. But right now, this is, well, incredible scenes. So we're waiting for the weather to relent, basically, hoping for this to just be a quick shower and for it to clear up as quickly as possible, because it's a sudden downpour, and then at least if it lets up a little bit, then we may be able to go racing as long as it's not getting wetter and wetter. So apologies for this delay, everybody. But I'm getting many a picture and all sorts of info from people around the circuit right now showing off the different angles. It's absolutely crazy. There you go. Look at all the standing water. It's remarkable, isn't it? I must give a shout out as well to Steve Miller at Apollo, who has just sent me a picture. His glasses are steamed up like mad. He's absolutely soaking wet. He was on the grid enjoying himself, and now he's away. Look at this. Look at this weather. It's unbelievable. A shout out to Andrea Petaro as well, the wonderful man that he is in part of Magneti, who does a lot of the background data with our trucks and racing machines. And he's explaining that it's just ridiculous how this sudden downpour has come upon us. Nobody expected this at all. And is that a ramp I can see in the background? Is there some sort of like Daredevil motorbike jump thing that we can see. I wouldn't like to do that in this weather. Anyway, Christina, I wouldn't like to be where you are in this weather either.
As you might have noticed, and the lens is full of drips of water, and we truly are completely soaked. But we're still hiding here behind the pace truck due to, of course, the techniques trying to get the camera safe. And as you can see, the race is delayed. Maybe Chaz and Ebi and Fonzie have already told us, but we are out of connection here. But still we can see the surface is completely wet. And of course, in such a condition, it's not safe to drive and get the start. But we hope to get the track very dry very, very soon to keep you provided with all the racing action we wanted to see. But as you can see and hear from the stands, everyone is like honking and they're in such a good mood. Everyone is soaked, but still full of fun and full of joy, because this is obviously, you just can laugh about the situation. We absolutely do that. The lights are there on yellow, not a good sign also, but of course start is delayed. So we hope to get somewhere else maybe soon. But as you can see, look over there, the cloud. It's better. It's getting better. I'm very, very optimistic. I'm always very, very optimistic. So back to you. See you.
Yeah, optimism is exactly what we need right now, Christina. Thank you very, very much indeed. Bless her, absolutely braving the conditions out there to give us an insight from what it's like at the very front of the grid anyway. But wow, what an amazing turn up for the Bucks this has been. And as you hear there, the crowd and everybody very happy. There's Christina running back across the grid now with Fleischi, our cameraman. And they'll hopefully get into one of the garages and get into some cover very, very soon. But yes, the start is delayed. The drivers and some of their mechanics and personnel are still on the grid as well. You can see the Don't Touch Racing Berlin guys there on the grid. They're just sorting out whatever they need to sort out, figuring out tyre pressures. And right now, I'm getting more images as well from friends saying that they're at the circuit and absolutely drenched. And it's just crazy, absolutely crazy. So many members of the paddock right now, all communicating with each other as if we can't see the weather already, but it's just mad. Luckily, all the fans there seem to have coats and umbrellas, so they know that this was an eventuality. There's a wave from some of the fans. It's great to see that they're still in high spirits, though, and still enjoying the moment. They don't run away, and that's great to see. But wow, I was not expecting to see this weekend, especially not after last year. Like I said, it was so hot last year at the Slovakia Ring. It wasn't an event that I was there at in person, but I could still just feel how ridiculously warm it was over the weekend with all the technical issues we had. As you can see from this camera angle, though, the rain seems to have stopped slightly, but all of a sudden, there is this beautiful sheen on the circuit. And it is absolutely drenched, isn't it? You get this gorgeous mirror shot. It's going to look very beautiful for pictures and for our footage. And hopefully where Christina is, it's looking a little drier. How are you, Christina?
Thank you very much. We made it. We made it through the rain. I'm feeling like Mary Poppins right now with an umbrella in my hand. And of course, look at this. Look at this, please, how much water is in the T-shirt. It's absolutely, yeah. Right now, so you already pushed out everything. So as you can see, everyone is smiling, but yes, luckily some other umbrellas are right out here at the racetrack. But as you can see, we do not make any progress right now. I spotted a bit of clearer sky. I can see clearly now. The rain is gone. Not yet, but we do keep that in mind, Chaz.
Yeah, it's absolutely soaking out there right now, and hopefully we'll have a race start very, very soon. But we will have to wait and see. Obviously, safety is the top priority here, and it is across all motorsport as well. We don't want to be sending our drivers out when it could continue to get worse. But it looks like the rain has surpassed, for now at least, or at least the heaviest of the rain has. It looks like it is still raining a little bit, but it's not as damaging as it would have been in its form as we saw a moment ago. The shot down from turn one was unbelievable. You could barely see the trucks on the grid, even with the pace truck with its lights on at the front as well. You could barely see it. There's the Civic Type R medical car, or safety car essentially, at the back of the grid there, which I imagine would be a well, I was going to say a riot in the wet like this, but only if you play with the handbrake. I don't think a front-wheel drive hatchback with a lot of power would be much fun around a river in the shape of the Slovakia ring. We're going to go back to Christina, though, because I believe we had a lot more fun in the sun earlier, didn't we, Christina, with some autographs?
Absolutely. It seems like yesterday or the week ago, but it was just like 1.5 hours ago, directly ahead of race number 1. There was this beautiful autograph session with all the drivers, and for me it felt very, very British. So they're lining up again, but this time it's the autograph session. As you can see, the fans are here, and everyone, of course, is getting this great picture here, and of course with this signing. And we're here at the British section, and we welcome Mark Taylor. Hello. So you're here. You're competing after Misano the second time, again competing for the Promoters Cup. How are you feeling?
Good about it. It's a different challenge from British, and I'm enjoying it at the minute. So yeah, every circuit is different, and it's a good challenge, like I said.
What are the main differences between the British Championship and the European Championship?
Oh, it's just a different atmosphere. It's a brilliant. The tracks are brilliant. The weather's better. So, so yeah, it's all good at the time. Yeah.
And the competition, of course, is very, very tough, but you got some British help from side, maybe sometimes the elbows. So here's the signing. You see it from John Newell, of course. Welcome. So you're also competing for the Promoters Cup. Any prediction for this weekend?
Hopefully get on the podium like we did in Misano. Just keep things going and keep improving each time we go out.
You're also experienced as a race-by-race entry, and right now you're competing the whole season. So how are you feeling between British Championship and the European Championship, as your colleague has also mentioned?
It's a lot more demanding, a lot more track time, so hopefully it should improve us quicker. So I'm looking forward to it.
So how went qualifying for you?
It wasn't too bad. We finished 11th, but was still plenty of pace more to come.
And still plenty of more autographs to write down, of course. So we're very happy to see everyone here with the fans in the paddock, and right now we're heading back, of course, to our race time. And who would have known that we are not heading back to race time, but heading back to the stands. And speaking about fans, I've got here a fan. Would you introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Jan Koolmeijer, and I'm looking forward. Now it started raining, yeah? Let's see, but yeah, great atmosphere anyhow here at Slovakia Ring.
Absolutely. How long are you into truck sports?
Since 20 years almost, yeah. So I'm with MAN, and of course our trucks are always in front, so yeah, looking forward to the race today.
We can see a giant red beast up from here, the MAN from Norbert Kisch. So what do you say about his performance?
Yeah, great. Let's see. I mean, he has pole position now, yeah, but also Antonio Albacete, yeah, winning the race in Italy. So let's see, yeah.
But he seems to be very dry, because here in the stands, as you can see, everyone is very, very safe. But did you expect something like this?
I mean, it looked a little bit like rain, but I mean, everyone told me Slovakia Ring never gets rain, and then just before the start, a huge pour of rain. But let's see.
So it's very good that we're heading to net zero due to climate change, but maybe because this is some sign of climate change too. So, but you're happy with some friends and family here?
Yeah, we are. I have my family here and lots of friends, so good time here. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Welcome. You're welcome.
So 30 minutes delay is on the board right now. Wow, that's a lot of time when we do get our team right now together and talk about how we proceed right now here, but we're always there for you, Chaz, of course.
Yes, absolutely. It's a difficult time when we have delays like this, but this is part of motorsport. Unfortunately, sometimes these things do not always go according to plan. So we'll do what we can, we'll provide what we can and cover what we can for everybody watching all around the world and, of course, at home as well. You see our official truck, the Ford F-Max at the front, and then the Iveco S-Way as well. You can see the wind still really affecting everything here as well. The trees blustering around in the background there. But fans, hardy fans, I have to say, are not going anywhere, are they? It's great to see. Awesome resilience from those around the circuit. Lovely to speak to some of our fans there as well, actually. Smashing stuff from Christina. Here's a look at your grid then, down from turn 1, where it looks like it's a completely different climate. Norbert Kisch and Jochen Hahn on the front row of the grid. Once again, Norbert Kish taking another pole position. That's his 53rd pole in his career. Alberthetti next up alongside Sasha Lenz. The two of them will be doing battle from row 2, hoping to pick off either of the drivers in front of them. Jamie Anderson moves up from the Promoters Cup into the Titan category this season. He's ahead of Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, who is the head of said Promoters Cup this time round. Andre Kurzim and Steffi Halm make it an all-Iveco row 4 in trucks 11 and 44. Then behind them, it is a Scania of Stefan Faas, and then the Iveco of Louis Requenco in 10th position. Louis hoping to get that gorgeous green machine up a few places from where he starts. And fighting through from the back of the grid, we're going to have John Newell and Mark Taylor, as we spoke to just a moment ago during their fantastic autograph session. As you can see, it was very different weather, but those two just hoping for consistent improvement. Mark with his first championship fight here in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship, and John Newell got a little bit of experience under his belt from last season as a race-by-race entrant, taking a couple of appearances towards the end of the season and really enjoying himself at Le Mans and Jarama. And we're going to go back down to Christina as the rain seems to be slowing down slightly.
Absolutely. And so is Michael Marek then right now, the race director, is on the track and checking if it is safe to race, and we are so optimistic and hoping to see those beasts. They're back on track right now. And of course, it's a difficult situation for the drivers as well. They got their adrenaline up, ready to start, and right now they need to cool down, but not too much, because we're very, very optimistic that we can see some racing soon. We saw some good races there at Misano back in Italy, so let's have a look at the highlights.
As you see, though, everybody, it continues to pour it down here at the Slovakia ring. It's a very, very tough time for everybody here as the conditions have changed massively since the trucks went out to the grid. That's the reason for the big delay here. Obviously, the trucks need adjusting. They need a lot of things changing, and we have officials making their way around the circuit now just to check the conditions of the circuit. The gorgeous Toyota Supra that makes its way around the track. A car that's divided many opinions. A lot of people call it a BMW, but it's not really, is it? Still a very, very pretty racing machine under the skin, as it actually makes its way into the pit lane now to bring back whatever reports they can of how the circuit is behaving. It's a very flat track here at Slovakia Ring, which doesn't make it too difficult for wet condition racing, because when you get the more undulating tracks with big rises and falls in the scenery, they can be a lot more difficult to manage because you get water gathering in different areas and not in other places. So certain parts of the circuit can seem fine, other bits of the circuit can seem horrendous and undrivable. But with the fact that it's all very flat here, you can also get the imbalance of having a lot of standing water as well. So it can never be an easy place to deal with, is the Slovakia Ring, unfortunately. But we're grateful to be here and looking forward to, hopefully, another great weekend's racing of it. We'll just have to wait and see how this rain gets on. But we'll go back down to Christina.
Yeah, thank you very much. Peppa Pig is jumping up and down in muddy puddles, but we don't want to do that. As you can see, it is drying up. But as you already mentioned, Chess, you can have a look at every space there, but Michael Arek could. And right now, I will have a look if he's coming around. But if not now, we are going to Jochen Hahn. Let's have a walk and eye take, of course.
Thank you.
I'm making a very different kill for our cameraman Manu right now, but slowly walking, not get the camera too wet, and maybe have a look inside here if we can have a small chat in the rain with Jochen Hahn. Hättet ihr Zeit für eine Sekunde oder seid ihr gerade in Dollar-Besprechung? Okay, nee, dann nicht. Dann lassen wir es. They're right now into setup because it's very, very difficult right now for the drivers. We've heard them in the interviews. They had the tires on for the sunny conditions, and right now it is rainy. You need to change the setup. And right now we do see when there's a FIA official coming up to the drivers. And let's have a look. Back to you, Chaz. We keep you posted.
Thanks very much, Christina. Thank you very much indeed. And yes, as you heard there, it's now set-up time and discussion of the race for Jochen Hahn. The guys obviously have a lot of work to do ahead of all of this amazing action, which we've hopefully got coming our way. There is Franz Stahlberg, an absolute legend in my eyes. I love him to bits. We've always had a lot of laughs at these race weekends. As well, there goes the safety car flying back into the pits. For some reason, it was on the circuit and then facing the wrong way there. Not quite sure what's gone on this time around, but into the pits they go, hopefully to bring back some information and give a verdict on what we will be doing going ahead. We were told that the 10-minute board, which is one of the many boards that gets shown at the front of the grid to let drivers and teams know how long before we go underway. That should be shown at 2 p.m. local time, but that is in just under 20 minutes' time now that we will be seeing that board, so still quite a while to wait before any verdict is met. But you never know, we could get the good news that they've decided, yep, we will just go ahead with the race now, we'll just crack on and get this underway. The trucks don't really have much of a difference in tyres from one set of conditions to the next. They can handle the conditions in all sorts of ways with just the one set of tyres, which is really good stuff. And again, hats off to Goodyear for providing such a fantastic set of tyres for us to go racing on. Really gives us a lot of versatility in the championship. And as you see now that the rain is easing slightly, we do have personnel going back out onto the grid, and we'll go back down there as well to speak to Christina.
It's a bit of dribbity-drabbity rain still, but Csaba Barker is here with me. Wow, what conditions. I mean, that changes everything for you.
Well, normally we are pretty good in the rain conditions, so I'm part happy, I'm part sad because of that. Of course, it means a lot of work on the truck, but hopefully we'll get a good result here.
What is the main thing that you need to change?
You know, we have of course it's top secret. I'm speaking in general only. We have plenty of bits to do the setup. We have to alter anything a bit, you know. So it's a lot of work.
So as you heard screaming from back, it was Norbert Kisch, of course. The poll said it's like top secret. We don't want to provide any of the other drivers, of course, with top secret material. But what is not top secret about this strange situation that you needed to waiting here in the rain?
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate because we were really looking forward for the race. I think we were on live on TV in Hungary as well and in many parts of Europe. So, you know, I was looking forward to that, but I guess they have to wait a little bit. And, yeah, you know, I think in the dry conditions we had a good chance. but the rain always a little bit, tricky and unpredictable and very risky, so it's very easy to make a mistake in the rain condition, especially when you have so much water like what we had now. Obviously, understandable decision from the race control that we had to delay because we don't have rain tires. We have to drive the same tires that we have in the dry condition as well, and that makes it really difficult. Because a little bit of aquaplaning can mean a big crash, and obviously we don't want to have that. But at some point I hope it's getting better now, so I hope we are gonna go racing soon.
And yes, please imagine 5-ton trucks in aquaplaning. That would be very devastating. So, of course, everyone is right now, it's very much on the safety first, of course. But how is it for you? Because you're in the zone, you're focused, concentrated ahead of a race. How do you cope with delays? Any sandwiches in here?
Oh, yeah, I think it's... I don't know how the others are dealing with it, but, for me, I guess it's fine. I'm here the whole weekend, so I have time. I'm not in a hurry, so obviously it's not so comfortable sitting in here for hours. So I hope we can go soon. But for me it's fine. We can wait a little bit, and I still think that the warm up lap is enough to get yourself together.
Thank you very much, and I can assure you it's much worse outside than sitting in the truck right now. Have a good day, and have a good race, hopefully soon. As you can see, everyone is talking right now, doing the setup, the top secret setup, of course, Chaz.
Yeah, that's it. They have to make sure they keep their secrets behind the scenes. So there you go. That's one of our wonderful cameramen, just showing quite how wet it is today. As you see, it really is going to be a challenge, not just for our cameras around the circuit, but also the wonderful people that operate them as well. And a big thank you to all of our cameramen and our fantastic team that do provide these pictures for us. And of course to the marshals and officials as well that are all posted around the circuit, because without them we wouldn't be able to go racing. So a massive thank you to everyone involved in organising all of this. And we know that the delays can be very difficult to deal with for drivers and teams, but we do this because we love it, and we continue to now wait for the start of the race. We should have another 10 minutes or so before we get the 10-minute board at the front of the field. There'll be a lot of preparation going on between the drivers and their team members, and then hopefully we'll get cracking soon. Just as I say that, the word cracking comes to mind, because when it gets very sunny, we call it cracking the flags, as in it's so hot that it could crack the flagstones on the floor. And I have to admit, that's kind of how it is in the UK right now. It's very, very lovely in comparison to the Slovakia ring. So it's different in comparison to last year, at least. But you can see now the sheen and the standing water on the circuit itself has gone in a lot of places. There's a bit of a seam there behind Steffi Halm in number 44 and Andre Kurzim number 11. There's a bit of a seam in the surface you can see where the standing water suddenly stops, and then it's a bit drier again as the surface has been sort of paved in patches or in sections, essentially. We're going to actually go down to speak to the race director now with Christina, I believe.
Very much. You've been on the track right now. How are the conditions?
The condition now is becoming a little bit better, but we need to leave the water more flow out of some corners. We have 3 corners which are potentially dangerous more than the rest. So now I think 12 minutes more and we can start with the 10 minutes board countdown.
The track is very narrow in some turns, but also you see the wideness here. Does the water flow itself, or is there any help possible?
Gravitation itself.
That sounds good. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Well, there you go. There is the verdict, everybody. We reckon another 12 or now 11 minutes before the 10-minute board will get shown, and that's when personnel will start to get urged to leave the grid. The Ford F-Max official truck, the bright orange machine, as you see there, will start its inspection lap of its own just to make sure everything is all good ahead of time. There's our Iveco S-Way pace truck powered by Bio-LNG, an amazing machine and very, very pokey around a racing circuit, I can tell you that. Christina alluded to Frank earlier, the wonderful pace truck driver. Frank the Tank, we call him, lovingly, of course. He's a great, great bloke and a very, very solid driver. And we go back down there, actually, to Christina once again.
Yes, thank you very much. Standing here with Jamie Anderson, thank you very much for holding up. But we want to keep you safe and dry right now. That was something. The sun came out, it was 24 degrees, and suddenly the rain was pouring down. What do you think about the situation?
Yeah, it happens here. We was looking at we may have lightning and thunderstorms, and it's like anywhere with Europe. It all of a sudden just opens the heavens and away the rain comes. So let's hope now with the heat and the residual heat in the track that it can dry up a little bit and have a good race.
How do you cope with then the first corners, and how do you cope with the starting of the race? Because do you have a feeling already how it's going to be on track?
Yeah, so your first warm-up lap, you'll get a general feeling of how the track's going to be. And after from there, race by race, corner by corner, it's where you just start getting into the rhythm of it and understanding where the grip levels are. You know, it changes every single lap that you do, and you just have to be visual and just watching and feeling what the truck does.
Thank you very much. We can borrow you the umbrella if you want to.
No, it's okay.
All right.
Great to see Jamie in high spirits ahead of the racing then. Looking forward to seeing how he gets on his return to the championship. It's the first time back for him since the end of last season, where he finished second in the Promoters' Cup, but finished very highly in the championship itself, which is why he's in the Titan category for this season. So we have Titan and Chrome, which is basically Pro and Am, if you will. There's Frank, the lovely pace truck driver himself, the absolute superstar behind the wheel. Scares the life out of me many times. He's been driving around the Nürburgring and Hungaroring and even Jarama with me in the passenger seat, and I tell you, if you sit on the sort of bed in the back of the truck, you can very often fall off if Frank throws that thing around hard enough. It's fantastic fun. But still, we have our grid ready to go, I imagine. I imagine by now that they're all pretty well prepared. You can see a couple of people just around the trucks making tiny adjustments that they can. Mainly it's just tyre pressures. Because the temperature itself is lower here, it takes a bit more time to get the tyres up to temperature in these sorts of conditions, and you don't want to overwork them in the wet either, because then when you get a drying line, they can wear so quickly, especially when you do have a wet compound of tyre. But like I said before, we don't really have that in this championship. The trucks are so versatile, they can cope in all sorts of conditions. There is the Toyota Supra safety car making its way around the track as well. I imagine that's a lot of good fun in this weather as well on a circuit as wide as this. But as I was going to mention there, actually, the reason that the trucks cope so well in these conditions is because they've got so much weight about them and it's spread over such a large surface area. They can just cope really well in how well the weight is actually distributed from each corner. In GT racing, you'll often see a big difference in a lot of the cars, especially if you're talking GT3 cars. You know, you'll go from something like a McLaren 720S, which has its engine in the middle, or you compare it to a much bigger car like a Bentley Continental GT or the BMW M4 GT3s, which have the engine at the front and they are a lot longer and a lot wider. But because they've got this extra height about them as well, instead of being a low-slung supercar shape with the engine in the middle, they can manage a lot of wet weather conditions much better because they have that better spread, that distribution of the weight. You can see there's a lot of standing water on the way into turn 13, which is the penultimate corner on the circuit before the left kink. The last corner of the track here that the safety car is about to get around now. The pit entry is just on their left-hand side, but the Supra makes its way through. It looks fantastic in these conditions, though, doesn't it? As they get now onto the start-finish straight. Now you can see a lot of water residing on the right rear wheel arch of Louis Requenco's machine. I love that green Iveco. It looks fantastic in that livery. I believe it's René Reinhart's old truck as well, actually, that he's bought from him. So we know that it's a very potent machine. René had some pretty strong results in that Iveco. But we now wait a little bit longer for the 10-minute board to come out. And there's a bit more of a calm atmosphere, I'd imagine, on the grid compared to what we're used to. Now that everybody's sort of processed the fact that it's rained and everyone's got it into their heads that we're going to have a wet race here at Slovakia, I know that everyone's mindsets will be eased into this situation a little bit better off. We've got a good mix of drivers near the front of the field. I'm excited by row 3 because admittedly in a couple of rounds before we've had the usual top 6 of Norbert Kirsch, Jochen Hahn, Sasha Lenz, Antonio Albertetti, and then Andre Kursim and Steffi Halm right behind. There is Andre Kursim's team, the Don't Touch Racing team. But now we've got Jamie Anderson and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez on that third row of the grid. I think they're going to be able to put up a very good challenge, and there's no points for guessing who we're going to be interviewing next up, I believe, as Christina makes her way towards the number 11 truck of Andrei Kurzim. There's Jamie Anderson and Sasha Lenz. They're teamed up for this season, actually. I was meaning to mention this earlier on. As Team Lowen Power, which is Sasha Lenz and Jamie Anderson, trucks 3 and 33. They're on 38 points at the moment, which, of course, have only been earned by Sasha Lenz in the first couple of rounds. And Jamie will now start to score for them. But we're going to go back down there to Christina, who's going to have a chat with Andrei Kurzim from the 4th row of the grid.
Yes, and he's absolutely in the middle of the puddle, and it's very, very tough right now to have a prediction for this race. Absolutely rainy conditions, absolutely unpredictable for you, and you're right in the middle of that. How do you compete?
Yes, I think we have a wet start. For the start, I think we have no problems yet, but the rest of the race will be very funny because we have no chance to test it at these conditions. And yes, we will see who had the best setup for today, and yes, hopefully we.
Can we have a look at his shiny helmet that he's got? That's really, really looking good right now. The weather's not so looking good, but as you can see, as you said, you need to be sometimes very careful, or do you think I need to get to speed up to get those the puddle right behind me?
No, I think we have at first very careful, and we have to do no mistakes here, and I think that's the key for this race.
That's the key for the race, and we are already, it's 13:56 right now. So as we say, Eiffel time. It's a little insider. Couple of more minutes. Be patient, guys and girls, and please stay tuned with us here at the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. We're about to start, I'm sure.
Yeah, it will be around the corner in just a moment's time. So thank you very much, everybody, for your patience in all of this. We hope to get the race underway very, very shortly, but we'll have to just wait that little bit longer before we can get going and see what the next stage of our race meeting will be, shall we? There is the gorgeous number 11 Don't Touch Racing machine of Andrei Kurzim, hoping to at least get past the 2 trucks on the row in front of him, I should say, which is Jamie Anderson and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. That's a lovely, lovely shot there from Fleischy with some of the Don't Touch Racing billing. Guys, they have a fantastic laugh with all of our staff at Vega Solutions. There's a real positive vibe and a lot of fun had in all of these paddocks. We really do love it. It's a great championship to be a part of, honestly. I've never seen a paddock like it, to be honest with you. We just wait now. You can see that the rain is still coming down. There's Chababacco at the side of the grid waiting to get Norby released and off at the front of the pack. Obviously, it's a side-by-side start. We're going to go down to Christina, actually, who's going to have a chat with Steffi Halm. It was her birthday yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. And we already congratulated, but the candles have been blown out by the wind and the rain right now. How is it?
I don't know what to say, because I think it's the first time that we have wet conditions at the Slovakia ring. All the years before we had dry weather. On Friday, when we have the press rides, or we started the first part of the press rides, it was a little bit wet and it was very, very slippery. So I think it will be difficult to stay on track. But at the moment, nobody knows, but it will not be easy.
Absolutely not. And you're right here in the middle of the pack, so you can't fly away then. How do you cope with the situation?
So we have a wet start, so we are not allowed, for sure, for the first lap. It's under yellow, so not allowed to overtake. I think it's just important to watch the track, where are the good lines and where you have more water, and then we try to stay on track and maybe overtake some of the guys in front of me.
Stay on track. Thank you very much, Steffi Halm. She needs to get into the car, into the vehicle again, to the truck, of course. And yes, so we do accompany her right now. Wishing everyone good luck. Stay safe, please.
Yeah, definitely. I absolutely echo that as well, and hope that all of our drivers have a wonderful, enjoyable and mainly safe race. But thank you very much, Steffi Halm, for having a quick chat with us there. She's a real boss of this championship, is Steffi. A fantastic character to have around, and with that gorgeous white and orange Iveco S-Way, she certainly is a force to be reckoned with as well. She had a very scary moment actually here last season. I think it was in the first race of the weekend with Shane Brereton, actually. The two of them came together out of the first corner, and as you'll have seen by now, our trucks have a sort of bumper bar at each end, basically, and the two of them came together just enough to make contact. You can just see it in the bottom of right of your shot now, actually, the bar along the back of the truck. They caught together as they were going down towards turn 2, the fastest corner on the circuit, and before you knew it, the two of them were completely sideways and both off in the gravel. Luckily, no major damage from it, but it was a very, very scary moment. Neither of them wanted to let up, and neither of them obviously could communicate with each other to get untangled, and they both went straight on at turn 2 and got away with it, I think is the safest way to put it. But Steffi was understandably very, very annoyed by the situation. There is Stefan Faas, sat in the number 24 machine, a smile on his face ahead of the race, and smiles from the team as well as they prepare for another venture out into the wild here in Slovakia Ring. There is the gorgeous purple and green machine of Sasha Lenz and his team on standby as well ahead of the first race of the weekend. He's certainly excited to get this one underway though, and Sasha's pretty good in the wet conditions too. So too is Norbert Kish. There's a number of drivers that have stood out in the wet before, and we will have to see what they can do. It's not often we get a wet race in the championship, to be honest with you, and we had one at Misano as well, and as you all saw there, Norbert Kish dominated that one. Started, I think it was 11th on the grid. I think I wrongly said 13th earlier, but he won that. And let's see where Christina is on the grid now.
I'm ahead of the bodyguards right now here at Stefan Faas. They're protecting him. But as you can see, Zimzalabim, the door is open. Thank you very much. So, wow, what are these conditions?
Ja, das Wetter ist nicht wirklich schön, aber wir haben alle mit dem gleichen Problem zu kämpfen. Ne? Und ich denke, es wird interessant.
It's not nice, but we are all dealing with the same problem. It's going to be very, very interesting. What is very important? Was ist das Wichtigste jetzt?
Ja, jetzt ist eigentlich das Wichtigste, ruhig zu bleiben und dann einfach die Einführungsrunde zu schauen, wo denn das Wasser wirklich steht auf der Strecke und dann die Linie zu legen um das Wasser rum.
So you said it's going to be stay calm, stay focused, and use the warm-up lap to see where on the track are the wetter conditions and where's the line, where you can focus on finding your line then. I think we found our line right now, and thanks for everyone here at the team, and thanks to our cameraman staying with me here in the rain.
Yeah, thank you as well, Christina. Fantastic perseverance out there in the rain. We really do appreciate it, and I'll tell you what, it certainly is great to have such a fantastic team all working together to make sure we can provide you with what we can. Like I say, these delays are not easy on the drivers, they're not easy on the teams or spectators or us lot that provide the broadcasting as well. You know, we have to try and find things to give you in these times. Normally we're rushed off our feet with stuff constantly being thrown at us, constantly going on, but in these delays it can be difficult. So thank you everybody that is sticking with us. We really do appreciate it, and we hope that you're still enjoying what we have of the race weekend at the moment. Of course, race 1 will be coming up for you in just a moment's time. We're going to get the warm-up lap at 10 minutes past 2 local time. It's 3 minutes past 1 right now here in the UK. And the lady in the blazer there, I think, giving off the body language of what we're all thinking. It's very... I mean, I'm warm here in the UK, but seeing people down there on the grid in the rain, it makes me feel cold, I must admit. Although Fleishy's wearing his shorts, as he always is, because he's one of those blokes that's always in shorts, to be honest with you. Still, we have a great race lined up ahead of you, I can tell you that, because these conditions will be very different to what everyone was expecting. The setups might not be absolutely perfect. Drivers might not have been preparing for this. They might have learned the dry lines here at Slovakia Ring. Like Steffi said, we never really get wet conditions at the Slovakia Ring, so people will know this place completely like the back of their hand by now with the amount of laps that we've done here, but only when it comes to the dry. We've never raced here in the wet, so this is going to be a different kettle of fish altogether, I think, and it's a very exciting prospect, isn't it? There's a view down from the grid of Jochen Hahn's machine. The gorgeous white and blue Iveco S-Way. It's a livery that he's carried for a couple of seasons now, and it always looks wonderful. Jochen and his team take great pride in preparing their trucks in such a beautiful way. All the teams do, to be fair. They do a fantastic job of turning them out. It was lovely to be there in Misano for the first round of the season and see all the trucks before they get a little bit scraped up and a little bit battered as the season goes on. I'm sure any of you that have been to a race meeting before, at the end of a championship, you'll see a lot of tape and stone chips and scratch marks all over the vehicles before we get going. But in these conditions, and at the start of the season, at the early end of the season anyway, the trucks all look their absolute best, and the drivers really do take pride in keeping them clean as best they can over the course of a campaign. But still, we have just a couple of moments left now before we go fully racing. And there you go, the wet track is declared for the race. That's part of the procedure that has to be confirmed. And the 5-minute board is held up. 5 minutes past 1 here in the UK, 5 minutes past 2 local time, which means that we will get going very, very soon. There's Rolf Werner over on the right-hand side of our shot, overlooking proceedings, and off on its way goes the official truck, the Ford F-Max, the gorgeous machine itself. We have this bright orange example this year. We have 2 of them in the paddock, and we're very proud to work with Ford Trucks and have them provide these amazing machines for us. Frank especially loves the orange F-Max for this year. Now, as you will have heard me mention in the past, the Ford F-Max was designed and tested by 500 Ford engineers over a 5-year period, and there was over 15,500 hours of lab testing and 5 million kilometres of road testing before it was rolled out for purchase. And there's been a hell of a lot of an effort go into this machine, and it really is a proper user-friendly top-end machine that is loved and revered by a lot of the industry. Unfortunately, one of the Ford truck's boards has fallen over there, but that's nothing to reflect on the quality of the truck. But it looks great in this orange this year, doesn't it? Of course, the official truck that we had over the last 2 seasons was in the sort of metallic dark blue, similar to the one that we had from Iveco as well. And they looked beautiful as a pairing, but it's nice to have that differentiated colour scheme between the two. We've got this one and a lighter blue and white one as well, also in the paddock, which is on display in the innovation camp that you will see if you come to any of the race meetings around Europe in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Bit of an update on that as well, actually. If you are planning on coming to any of our events, or you have seen this and you think, well, hopefully if it doesn't rain somewhere else, Chaz, I'd love to go to one of the races. Where are they? We're at Tor Poznan in 2 weeks' time on the 24th and 25th of June. And then in the middle of July, the 15th and 16th of July, we head to the Nürburgring for the 2023 International ADAC Truck Grand Prix. And then we've got Most in Czechia in August, near the end of August, the 26th and 27th. Then after that we go to Zolder on the 9th and 10th of September. 2 weeks later we'll be visiting Belgium. Then at the end of the season we have our usual back-to-back race meetings, which I'm very excited for, because Le Mans and Jarama will host those. We're going to be at Le Mans on the 23rd and 24th of September, and then Jarama at the end of September and on the 1st of October. So a very busy calendar for the drivers, and as you heard earlier from Mark Taylor, there's a lot more track time in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship, so the drivers have a lot to think about when it comes to not just one race weekend, but how many race weekends they get, how busy said race weekends are as well, and the travel to and from each round. The teams put in such a gargantuan effort to get from each round. And it's lovely to follow them on social media as well. If you don't follow any of the teams, I would urge you to do so. It's great to see the journeys they go on and all of the hard work that goes into just getting prepared for race meetings and so on. There's a number of teams that have their own YouTube channels. They're all over Instagram, Facebook and Twitter as well, providing updates on what they're up to, not just when they're at the track. And it really is a great thing to follow, I must admit. It really keeps you in the atmosphere of the championship as well. So there is the F-Max making its way round turn 10, which is absolutely sodden on the inside there. It's completely drenched on the apex, but at such a low speed round there, you'll probably see a lot of the drivers taking wider lines around the outside instead of sticking to the apex. We'll have to wait and see. As you've got now, though, a very clean grid with barely any personnel on there. And they'll be getting ready to go in just a moment's time. The F-Max now heading down towards the final couple of corners to complete its inspection lap. And there you go, 30-second board up in the air, and the Iveco S-Way pace truck will lead us round for the green flag lap to finally get the race underway. Thank you very much, everybody, for your patience, but we are about to go racing in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship for the 5th round of the season. Now we have 4 races per weekend, 32 races over the course of the entire championship. We had rounds 1, 2, 3 and 4 at Misano on the 20th and 21st of May. But now we get rolling for round 5 of the season in the second race meeting. And at the front of it is our gorgeous bio-LNG powered Iveco S-Way. The Iveco S-Way being powered by bio-LNG means that the emissions are reduced to up to 90%, and it's barely at the cost of torque or power either. It's a very, very fast truck. I must admit, I've been around a couple of circuits as the passenger, or, well, I was going to say as a witness, basically. But Frank doesn't hang about in this thing, and it really does go. But look at the spray. This is one of the elements that we have to consider here. It's not just standing water on the circuit. It's not just sat there doing nothing. We've got spray to think about as well. So all that water is going to get flicked up into the air. As you can imagine, trucks aren't the most aerodynamic racing machines in the world. They have this very strange sort of vortex. You can see it there, actually, that wonderful side-on shot of the trucks going down towards turn 2. The spray sort of sticks to the back of the cab and remains really high up in the air. So while you get what they call a rooster tail effect from GT cars, where they flick the water up in the air, our trucks have that, but from the back of the cab. It's very strange to see. Norbert Kish and Jochen Hahn on the front row of the grid then. Trucks 1 and 2, positions 1 and 2. Then it's Antonio Alberthetti in third place alongside Sasha Lenz. The inside line here is going to be important in turns 1 and 2, so Alberthetti is in a great place. Jamie Anderson next up alongside Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. As you can see, barely anything between those two in qualifying. Next up, Andre Kurzim alongside Steffi Halm. We had a chat to both of them earlier on, and we wish them both a fantastic race from the 4th row of the grid. Rounding out your top 10, we have Stefan Fass in 9th position, and then Louis Requenco taking up 10th spot in his green Iveco. John Newell in truck 18 will start in 11th place, alongside Mark Taylor in 12th position. Both of them charging forward from the back of the pack, I can imagine. And in truly British weather as well, they might feel a little bit more at home here. And there they both are, trucks 18 and 81, teammates for this season as Newell and Taylor. Currently on 28 points in the team's championship, and we hope for them that they can score a lot more as this goes on. So now a little bit of calm falls over the circuit as we get prepared to go. You can see Norbert Kish and Jochen Hahn both pushing it a little bit, actually. The two of them just sort of trying to find that limit of grip. What's worth doing as well on these sorts of warm-up laps is really sort of pushing the throttle very suddenly. Just stab the throttle, get the rears spun up and just see where the limit of traction is, and change gear mid-corner. Even in these slower speeds like this, when we're at a reduced pace, it's worth just seeing what the rear end is like when you do change gear, and you can snatch a gear very quickly, spin up the rears again. It's not an easy situation to be in wet weather like this. So I think that the guys are going to be trying to find out where those limits are. You can see Norby and Jochen there just both pushing a little bit harder, just stabbing the throttle, as I say. And there's that strange vortex that you see behind the cab as the water sort of floats in the air behind it and doesn't really get blown away by the wind. The aerodynamics of the cab sort of stopping the air going over the top of it or blocking any air from hitting it. You do get this very strange floating of all the spray behind the cabs. But still, it's great to have you with us here for round 5 of the championship. We hope you're all enjoying yourselves so far. I've been told now It started raining a bit heavier again, actually, thanks to Steve Miller from Apollo in the paddock. He's just told me that the rain is getting harder once again, but a bit more gradually this time because, well, the initial rain shower that we had absolutely caned it down very, very suddenly and came out of nowhere over the course of about 30 seconds. But now, it's just gradually getting harder. So around the final corner we go then, round turn 13. Look at the that's a shot that gives you the size of this corner and the size of that missile as well. The fact that all of those trucks, we know how huge these trucks are, but look at how small they look, almost like micro machines from this distance. So our 12 machines then make it round the final corner now. And we're about to get the race underway. But under yellow flag conditions, of course, we have a wet race start procedure. So there will be no overtaking at this moment in time. They will go up to race pace, but they will not overtake one another. And this is the perfect opportunity for Norbert Kish to just push at the front of the pack. Into turn 1 he goes then, officially leading the field here at the Slovakia Ring in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. John Newell and Mark Taylor were still side by side there at the back of the pack by the look of it. But over the crest of the hill they go. Now you can see the real extent of the spray being kicked up by these machines. I think Andre Kurzim has overtaken Jose Eduardo Rodriguez as well, actually. He was on his inside before they got into turn 1. Jose Eduardo is just going back through now. I don't think Andre got the memo in the early stages, but they did say it was going to be a wet start. And Norbert Kish leads us now down into turn 3. Hard on the brakes into the hairpin. Look at the understeer. You can see just how easy it is to overdo it there. He's taking the wet line around the outside, though, because hitting the apexes here is going to be so difficult. Sasha Lenz sitting right up behind Antonio Albertetti. And there everybody else just maintaining formation at the moment. The Honda Civic, I can imagine that's fun in these conditions. Understeering like a cross-channel ferry into turn 3 there. You can give it all the power in the world, but it doesn't give it water skis. Norbert Kish then just trying to be the guinea pig essentially in this situation. You can say there's a benefit to being at the front here by being the lead truck and not having to wait for anybody in front of you, but at the same time he's the one that's got to go and find the grip before anybody else. He doesn't sit behind someone and see them struggle at certain corners or certain apexes. Seems like he gets a very stable punch out of the left-hander there down at turn 3. Apparently it's actually drying out right now, being told by Andreas. Or by drying, he's actually sent me a picture of Fleischi, our cameraman, and Christina in the pit garage. Bless them, trying to dry off now before they get underway. So what we should have at the end of this one, or at the end of this lap I should say, is we're going to actually go green. So we're going to have a green flag this time round, and then overtaking will be possible. You can see there's still yellow flags there on the start-finish straight. Still yellow lights flashing. They look almost red on our screens, but I can assure you they're more of an amber. We just now wait for them to make their way around the start-finish straight. As there you go, the lights go green. 7 laps to go here at Slovakia Ring. Doesn't seem like many laps, does it? But it's nearly 6 kilometres long, this circuit. It's nearly as long as Spa-Francorchamps. And it takes nearly, well, 3 minutes was the first lap of the race. 2 minutes 59.7 for Norbert Kish. And he has a 2-second lead over Jochen Hahn. Into turn 1 he goes. And now we are at full racing pace. Everyone taking a very wide line around turn 1 to make sure that they stick out wide and don't sting the apex, let's say, and hit all the horrible wet curbs. I've had a message from my brother, actually, asking whether we're going to be using the ramp on the infield that I mentioned earlier. Don't quite think that's going to be of necessary use today, but I'm sure there would be people that would pay to see that. I'm sure Jochen Hahn would probably be up for trying it. You know what Jochen's like, he'll give anything a go. He's going up a ramp of his own right now, though, over the huge hump down towards turn 3. And then hard on the brakes into the hairpin. One of the prime overtaking opportunities around this circuit. There's Jamie Anderson in 5th position there, and it's Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, the leader of the Promoters' Cup at the moment, under pressure from Andrei Kurzim in the Don't Touch Racing machine. He was ahead of him earlier on, which I think was a little bit naughty because they shouldn't have been overtaking, but hats off to him. He gave the position back. Jose Eduardo went back through. Andrei was clearly told what the situation was as well. I don't know what the situation is there, but Stefan Faas is off the road, I can tell you that much. Louis Requenco was off the road as well. Not sure if they'd made some contact down towards turn 3. But there's definitely been a drama there. Doesn't look like there's any major damage to Stefan's machine. And there is the battle continuing between Jose Eduardo Rodriguez and Andrei Kurzim. Andrei's actually tried to go through on the left-hand side out of turn 4, I think it was, because he was somehow on the left-hand side of him there as they went into turn 6 and 7, which is a long right-hander. Through turn 8 they go. And Jose Eduardo sticking to the usual racing line. Doesn't get as much punch out of the corner, you can see. Lights up the rears, kicks the back end out, and Andrei Kurzim says, all right, then I'll just crawl up to the back of your MAN and show you what this Iveco can do. Look at the vortex again as they go over the hill there. The water just stalling behind the cab. Jose Eduardo goes defensive down the inside. Andrei says, okay, I can brake later than that, mate. Watch this. Tries to go around the outside into turn 10, but he's gone straight on and he's gone off and he's in the gravel and he's overdone it. Hopefully doesn't hit anything. Then again, he's got until he gets to about Croatia before he runs into anything here at the Slovakia ring. It's a very, very wide circuit with a lot of runoff. Oh, as long as he doesn't hit that Portaloo, I think it'll be all right. Gets back on, or does he? No, he's entered the Paris-Dakar. Now he's back on. He's almost got to pay to get back in as poor Andrei Kurzim. He's now got Louis Requenco going by. The bodywork flies off the right-hand side of the truck. Scary, scary moment that. I was just wincing there, hoping that a barrier didn't suddenly appear out of nowhere. And now he's in a battle with Louis Requenco. It's Norbert Kish at the front of the field, though. Looks like he's just having a catastrophic engine failure, doesn't it? Where is Jochen Hahn? Jochen Hahn has fallen off the road somewhere and lost a bunch of positions. Let's have a look at his sector times. He was 5 seconds slower in the last sector on that lap. There's Louis Requenco and Andrei Kurzim making a bow wave down the start-finish straight. They'll need water skis, to be honest, if it carries on like this. It's balmy, isn't it? Look at that. Look at the conditions. John Newell's getting the Rain X out and making sure that he cleans the windscreen. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez over the top of the hill, happily leading the Promoters' Cup at the moment. And there is Sasha Lenz, who is now 3rd ahead of Jochen Hahn. There is Jochen. Only got a glimpse of him there, so didn't see any damage or anything on the truck, but look at the gap that it's opened up now for Norbert Kish leading over Antonio Albertetti and then Sasha Lenz. I was saying as the weekend started that one of the records in the championship that Jochen Hahn will be going after is Antonio Albertetti's podium record. Jochen has 276 podiums in this championship, whereas Antonio has 282. So with 6 between them, Jochen could surpass Antonio this season if he has a season like last one. And then Jochen would hold every record in the championship for the most starts, most podiums, wins, pole positions and titles. He's currently got 6 titles, 67 pole positions, 116 wins, 276 podiums, as opposed to Antonio's 282, and 650, as of this race starts. This is Jochen's 650th truck race. So you can forget your measly Formula 1 numbers of 300 Grand Prix. Well, like we say, everything's bigger in truck racing. The renewable HVO diesel that powers our trucks, though, means that the emissions are not big, though. The emissions have been reduced to up to 92% in the past couple of seasons after using the 100% renewable HVO diesel. It's a wonderful part of the championship's sustainability measures going forward to make sure truck racing can continue. And not only that, but it works for the industry as well, and it's a great proving ground and a testing ground is truck racing to make sure that we can help power this technology into the industry as well. You can see a little bit of sunshine breaking through there as Antonio Albacete and Sascha Lenz fight together. And Steffi Halm is currently there in 7th place behind Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, who is trying, I think, to have a go at getting past Jamie Anderson. We saw a moment ago as well Andre Kurzim and John Newell having a bit of a fight. Andre just getting through and up into 8th position. There was a couple of trucks all close together there as Louis Requenco was trying to defend from Stefan Faas. But here you go then. Here is Truck 33 and Truck 38. One of them in the Promoters' Cup this season, one not. But as of last season, Jamie Anderson started his amazing comeback in the championship here at Slovakia, winning multiple races actually outright. Look at the body roll there from Antonio Albacete's MAN as he really throws it through the long right-hander to try and get away from Sascha Lenz. We've almost got a 3-wide situation down the start-finish straight, or the runway here. Stefan Faas looking in the middle of John Newell and I believe Louis Requenco. Yes, Andre Kurzim's a little bit further up the road. Louis Requenco goes to the right-hand side, the inside line on John Newell. And then Mark Taylor just spectating in the background at the moment as he continues to circulate as quickly as he can and continually improve. There's Stefan Faas side by side up the roller coaster down towards turn 2. John Newell on his left in the MAN, taking it cautiously. There's Jochen Hahn being cautious as well in 4th place. It's a real shame we didn't get to see what happened to Jochen, but clearly some sort of issue in that final sector for him because it was 5 seconds slower than anybody else. Norbert Kish has a 9.3 second lead at the end of that previous lap. He was 3 seconds faster than Antonio Albacete on that last lap. It's unbelievable pace from Norbert Kish. But like Chaba was saying before the race, they're good in the wet. They know how to handle this truck, and Norby knows how to drive it very well in the wet. Stefan Faas has now just got ahead of John Newell there. John was still continuing to get used to the circuit, get used to how the truck behaves around here in the dry, never mind get British weather thrown at him as well. I'm now being sent pictures as well of the difference in weather between the Slovakia ring and Alton Park, which is a couple of minutes down the road from me, where the TCR UK Championship is taking place. It's beautiful sunshine here in Cheshire in the UK, but unfortunately in the Slovakia ring, well, the sunshine's out now actually. It's looking a lot brighter and a lot more colourful, which is nice to see. But earlier with the rain coming down, it was a very different kettle of fish, wasn't it? Kish leads then, 9.3 seconds over Albacete, then Sascha Lenz, then Jochen Hahn. Jamie Anderson in 5th place at the moment, looking for a solid start to his campaign. And then Jose Eduardo Rodriguez in 6th position. Sascha Lenz, though, is bearing down on Antonio Albacete. He's already in a podium position. It's whether he can make more of that, because he's going to get his own pressure from Jochen Hahn behind. So he needs to get on with this sooner rather than later. There is Norbert Kish, though. And it's just another day at the office, isn't it, for Norbert Kish. We've got debris at turn 14, apparently, which is hopefully not going to affect anything. It's not going to stop anybody racing at full chat. I think there's just going to be a little bit of bodywork down there that maybe they can work on avoiding. There's Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, and it really is a bow wave, isn't it, being made by Jamie Anderson. He was making waves last season here at Slovakia, but now he's literally making waves down the start-finish straight. They've got Steffi Halm just behind. She's managed to clear away from everybody else. You can see actually a bit of a drying line to the right-hand side of our shot there, and around the outside at turn 1. But Norbert Kish is just lapping brilliantly at the minute. His last lap time was a 3:01.6. And Albacete a 3:03.9 last time round. And that was his best lap of the race as well. And Norby's actually. The circuit is getting gradually quicker. And there is Sascha Lenz continuing to bear down on Antonio Alberthetti. There is turn 6, a very difficult turn 6. Long sweeping right-hander that tightens up and gets slower and slower. So you're going in as quickly as you can, but you're on the brakes and trying to turn all at once. And these guys know exactly what they're doing when it comes to doing many things at once with these racing machines. They're so unique to drive and so unique to get around at amazing pace. They're all really at the top of their game, these guys. And that's why it's so close in the championship, really. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez has dropped away from Jamie Anderson a little bit right now. You can hear the chirps of the turbochargers as well as they go up through the gears. The turbochargers on these things are like dinner plates. They are colossal. You can see the boost pipes as well hanging out near the bottom of the cab at the back. As down towards the final couple of corners they go. Once again, Alberthetti ahead of Lenz, ahead of Hahn. All of them hoping to chase down Norbert Kish, but he has an unassailable lead at this point, if you ask me. He's looking dominant as ever in these early stages of the championship. That electrical failure at Misano really did hinder them. But hopefully, for their sake, they continue on this amazing pace. Antonio Alberthetti's having a good start to his season as well. Comes into this round of the championship second, 3 points ahead of Norbert Kish, only 6 points behind Jochen Hahn. That man there, number 2. Where's that number 2 as his finishing position from last season? Sascha Lenz wearing the number 3 for the same reason. And no, don't worry, Antonio Alberthetti didn't finish 23rd last year. That's just been his number for a very, very long time. But they've got a big old gap over Jamie Anderson as well of about 15 seconds. So they can all fight amongst themselves if they want to, but there's only a couple of laps left to go. The counter in the top left of your screen tells you how many laps have been completed, so we're actually on the 6th lap of the race now. So there's this one and then 2 more. There's Jamie Anderson, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, Steffi Halm just behind. And then behind them we've got Andrei Kurzim and Louis Requenco. It is starting to come under a bit of pressure from Stefan Faas. We didn't see the incident between them earlier, but like I say, there doesn't seem to be much damage on either of the trucks. So maybe it was just a little bit of a tap here and there, or maybe Louis had lost it and had a spin and then Stefan was avoiding him, or vice versa. We can only speculate at this point. But as you see now, the spray is getting a lot lighter around the circuit and the sun is out, which is lovely to see. Means that we may get even quicker lap times here at the Slovakia ring. We're still just over 3 minutes per lap at the moment as Steffi Halm tries a move on Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. That's out of turn 3. There's the left-hander at 4, then they're going to go around the right-hander at 5. And watch this now as they go through turn 5. Look at how difficult turn 6 is. It's this long sweep all the way around, but while you're managing what the truck's doing and the potential understeer or oversteer, you've then got to get it slowed down as well, go down through the gears, not snatch the rear axle at all, not snatch a brake on the front, and then gradually get back on the power towards the left kink at turn 7. And then brake as late as you dare into turn 8, which is another hairpin. It's such a terrifying sector of the circuit. It doesn't look that unbelievable or scary from where we are in our wonderful camera positions, but behind the wheel of these things, it will feel so, so tough to find time through there. Jamie Anderson continues to sit ahead of these pair, but the gap between him and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez is changing all the time. Looking at the lap times, Jamie was 0.4 of a second quicker on the previous lap, but that was his best lap of the race, and Jose Eduardo has gone 0.5 seconds quicker than that previously. What's the first sector looking like? Jamie was actually 0.2 quicker in the first sector compared to Jose Eduardo, but I'd argue that his middle sector is slower. Steffi was a couple of tenths faster than both of them. Yeah, Jamie was 0.7 slower in the middle sector there. Jose Eduardo was quicker than Jamie and Steffi by about 0.6. So the middle truck of these three, in that middle sector at least, is the one that is putting the times down. An indicator of how long this circuit is the fact that the middle sector alone is 1.5 minutes here at Slovakia Ring. The first sector is just under a minute, but the middle sector is 1.5 minutes. That's longer than it takes Formula 1 cars to go around most Grand Prix circuits. But here you go then, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez right up behind Jamie Anderson. Now, he's not going to use the slipstream here. He's not going to utilise that because the trucks are limited to 100 miles an hour, 160 kilometres an hour. Once they hit that speed, they will not exceed that, and they are not allowed to exceed that. So you will not see the trucks sit behind each other, slipstream and fly past. We don't have DRS here. So instead, the drivers will sort of fan out and not follow directly behind the truck in front, because all you're doing is heating up your own truck with the hot air coming out the back of the one in front for absolutely no benefit whatsoever. Maybe you get a bit of slipstream on the exit of a corner on your way up to 100 miles an hour, but it doesn't make much of a difference from there. You can see that Steffi Halm now is really closed in behind Jose Eduardo Rodriguez as well, so she'll be looking for a clean overtake to go with the clean HVO diesel that we use in our trucks. As there's a not so clean overtake by the look of it. Sasha Lenz trying everything he can to get past Antonio Alberthetti. The two of them locked together, and here comes Jochen Hahn. He says, all right then, if you're going to throw yourself off the road, I'll come down the inside as well. As contact, wing mirror goes flying. I'll have that, Jochen. Sasha runs very wide round turn 6. Jochen finds a gap down the inside somewhere, but now once they go through this right-hander, Sasha's going to carry the fast line around the outside. Steffi Halm has got past Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. It's all kicking off now. It's all kicking off on lap 7 here at the Slovakia ring. But I was going to say that Sasha Lenz would then have the inside line on Jochen Hahn through the next corner, and yes, he's got it defended for now. You can see even in a straight line though, it's lighting up the rears. Has he got a right rear puncture there? I'm not sure if there was a little bit of damage on that right rear of Sasha Lenz's machine. As now Jamie Anderson tries to hold on ahead of Steffi Halm. He's got one more lap to hold on. The circuit drying out very quickly by the look of it. You can see them just wiggling around as they get on the throttle out of the hairpin there. And still now Sasha is in front. That right rear doesn't look too tasty to me. He's got 4 tyres on the rear of these trucks, so they can run with a completely deflated right rear and a destroyed wheel rim and still get away with it. Let's have a look. It doesn't look that bad, does it? Our cameraman's doing a good job of keeping up. I think that has gone down. Yeah, that is a right rear puncture for Sasha Lenz. But like I say, because they've got 4 wheels on the rear, the inside tyre, as long as that's not damaged, they can continue on at about 90% race pace. This is going to be a tough lap, though, leaning on that right rear. Luckily for him, there's not many left-handers at the Slovakia ring. So hopefully Sasha can continue on and hold on to his podium position. Will Jochen Hahn get him? Let's have a look. We're on to the last lap of the race now. Norbert Kish leads the way by 17.3 seconds. 18.3 seconds ahead of Sasha Lenz and 19.3 seconds ahead of Jochen Hahn. Lovely choreography, boys. Jamie Anderson is 5th at the moment ahead of Steffi Halm and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, who needs to be careful because he's still holding on to the Promoters' Cup lead in the sort of secondary class to the championship. Andrei Kurzim 8th ahead of Louis Requenco in 9th, and then Stefan Fass holds on to 10th position. John Newell and Mark Taylor, unfortunately, haven't been able to make any progress from the very back of the field to go forward at this point. But look at this, battles galore here as Andrei Kurzim now catches up to Jose Eduardo Rodriguez as well. It's not going to change much in the Promoters' Cup. They do get 2 separate sets of points, so they'll get points for their overall positions and then the Promoters' Cup positions as well. As Sasha Lenz now pushing hard into turn 3, runs a little bit deep, but then gets a really good run on the exit compared to Antonio Alberthetti. I think, you know what, Sasha, rather than defending for 3rd place here, I think he's going to go menacing forward and try and get 2nd place off Antonio. If he does this with 5 of the 6 wheels on his truck, then that's going to be a very, very impressive final lap as Steffi Halm goes for an impressive final lap round the outside of Jamie Anderson. There's actually going to be a bit of an overlap on the exit as well, and she's going to sneak through down the inside. Lovely move, but is she going to get it done? Because into turn 5, it's going to be the inside line for Jamie again. But no, Steffi Halm through. Fantastic move. Round the outside at 3, down the inside at 4, and ahead before turn 5 and 6. So Jamie cannot come back at her. That blue on Jamie's truck is looking glorious in the sunshine, isn't it? It was a mainly black design last year with a couple of blue highlights on it, but they've really emphasised the light blue on it this year, and it looks wonderful for it. Andre Curzim's in the mix as well now. He wants a bit of this. He's got ahead of Jose Eduardo Rodriguez at the start of this lap, so this battle is definitely not over yet. I'd be intrigued to see how Sasha Lenz is doing, though, against Antonio Albacete, and see whether he's managed to make any inroads yet, because they'll just be coming into the last couple of corners. And Norbert Kish is going to cross the line, and he is going to take the race victory in just a moment. He's that far ahead of the rest of the field that it's almost like he's on a completely separate lap to them. Here is Antonio trying to still defend from Sasha Lenz, but around the final corner, look at the difference. There is Norbert Kish, and he's going to take the win in round 5 of the 2023 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. A dominant victory from the Hungarian once again. The fans will absolutely love that here at the Slovakia ring. And next up behind them, it is going to be Antonio Albacete, I believe, that holds on ahead of Sasha Lenz. A great battle out of the final corner as Sasha gives it everything to the line. Jochen Hahn finishes in 4th position. But wow, what a great first race of the weekend that was. Really good battles going on all the way through the pack. I certainly enjoyed that one, and I hope you did as well. Here is that battle around the final corner now. And it is going to be Steffi Halm that holds on to 5th position. Jamie Anderson 6th, Curzim 7th, and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez wins in the Promoters Cup. Great job by Jose Eduardo. The Portuguese driver, Louis Requenco, is going to finish 2nd in the class ahead of Stefan Faas. And I think, just looking at it, that is going to be Louis Requenco's first podium of the season in the Promoters Cup. And it is a 5th podium out of 5 for Jose Eduardo Rodriguez and Stefan Faas. They've been on every podium so far this season. And I forgot to mention as well that their overall podiums in race 4, the last race at Misano, were their first overall podiums ever, both of them. Now this is one of the benefits of wet conditions here in truck racing, and of course a greasy surface. Look at Norbert Kirsch's truck control here. The way that he can drift this machine is, with no disrespect to anyone else on the grid, like no other. He will light this up for the fans, for the spectators, and he will have a lot of fun with this machine. Because of all the weight being over the front end of these trucks, they've got so little weight over the back, and they can fling them around and glide them round corners in such a beautiful way. And Norby certainly knows how to make it work. He spends a lot of time in the simulator doing this as well, where you don't have to pay for any bills if you prang the thing as well. The Marshals loving it trackside. This would be a good corner for a drift, Norby, just so you know. The long turn 9. I think he's going to make sure that he cools it down a little bit on his in-lap to make sure that they save whatever components they have. They're not very fickle machines, these trucks. They are very beefy, very sturdy. And they don't take a lot of... You know, they don't have their moments where they kick off, basically. They're not fragile. But you still have to consider that the components and everything are right at their limit and they're getting the most out of them. They have to last a 4-race weekend with 2 qualifying sessions, 2 Superpole sessions, practice and warm-up and all sorts as well. But Norby's back to lighting it up out of turns 11 and 12. Look at that. Fantastic angle of it there. And it's not like he's doing it slowly either. He drifts this thing at nearly 60, 70 miles an hour. And not forgetting that these are 5 tons, 12-litre, 6-cylinder, single turbocharged engines. And I believe the torque figure is somewhere over 5,500 foot-pound of torque. Scary numbers in this championship. Here we're going to get one more big drift out of him around the final corner before the pit lane. Quite surprised we haven't, to be honest with you. But still, when you're coming into the pits, it's no laughing matter. You can't mess about with the pit entry. You don't want to get in trouble. But Norbert Kirsch will be very happy. And below, the gorgeous red MAN takes the first victory of the weekend. And with that, I believe that will be the championship lead, with Jochen Hahn finishing in 4th place. It'll be very close between himself and Antonio Albacete and Jochen as well. as the rest of the field makes its way into the pit lane and into the paddock. We'll get our shots from down there in just a moment as the top three make their way in. But it's Norbert Kish, Antonio Albacete and Sasha Lenz that are the top three. And in the Promoters' Cup, it's Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, Louis Requenco and Stefan Fass that take the podiums there. There's the front end of the MAN, and Norby will be out momentarily to go and celebrate with his team. A team that hopefully by now has dried off slightly after getting soaked earlier on. There's Torsten Kelterborn, our cameraman with the GoPro on stick. And here is Torsten Cam on the left-hand side of the trio with Antonio Albacete into second place. And he actually pulls one podium score away from Jochen Hahn. That's 283 podiums now for Antonio, whereas Jochen stays on 276. What a shame. Sasha Lenz with 55 podiums to his name right now. He's got 12 race wins, and I'm sure he will be hoping to add to those this season. There's Norbert Kish. That's win number 82 in his career, and win number 3 of the season. What a fantastic victory that was, winning by 20 seconds. Certainly making his mark on this weekend's performances. And there you see a lot more sunshine now and blue skies, which is great. A lot of the fans all very happy down there in the grandstands. A lot of the team very happy. There's the T-Sport Bernau guys as well, congratulating Antonio. Big smiles from them. They were really happy after Misano, saying it's one of the best weekends they had. There's Sasha Lenz giving Steve Miller a huge hug from Apollo. Great stuff by Sasha. And a big result to get his weekend underway. A lot of work goes into getting these trucks and these drivers out on circuit. It's a colossal task, but they really do deserve these results. As the fans now will wait with bated breath for the next race of the day. We, of course, have the podium presentations and all sorts still coming up for you, which we will get done in just a moment. And we're going to go down now to Christina, who's going to speak to our race winner, Norbert Kish.
Yeah, but first he's going to congrats Antonio Albacete, fair sportsmanship here. And of course, the sun is shining. I mean, that's all right.
In the end, it's all right, yes. Good race from us, I think. In the rain, it worked very well again. And already I see on the yellow flag lap that Johan couldn't keep up, which is, a good sign usually. And then after the green flag, I started to push and, pull away. Again, very thankful for the team. The track is really nice. It works. Our rain setup works really, really well, and I could do a good race. It was a little bit, because I think from all the things I can remember, this was the first wet race here in Slovakia. We never had this before, so we didn't really know the circuit. So there was a lot of places. There was some puddles, and so we had to really tiptoe around, not to make any mistakes. One time I looked up and almost went wide, but then I was a little bit more careful. But yeah, it's a good race. I am very happy for the win and very happy for the race team.
Is the track drying up really quick right now? Because the marshals also, they were doing a really, really great job right now on waiting there, and right now everyone is drying out. What do you suggest? What are we going to see at race number 2?
Oh, I'm sure that there will be some other races between us, and I think by the time we come back in 2 hours or so, something like that, I think by that time probably it's going to dry up, unfortunately. Because, with the pace again that we have on this circuit in the wet, it would be nice to have the reverse grid race in the wet conditions again. But, we'll see. We try to do the best in the dry conditions as well.
Maybe champagne rain later.
Yeah, maybe.
Thank you very much. Off to podium. So Norbert Kish, he's an expert driving in the rain, of course. So as you've heard from us here, he said, I was happy, or maybe sad, or something in between, but right now at the end he's happy because due to his first position right now after the first race here at Slovakia Ring. So soon up at the podium, and right now give it back to you, to Chaz and Evie and Fonzie.
Thank you, Christina. And yes, absolutely, Norbert Kish always striving for perfection. So even with a race victory, he knows there's improvements to find, and of course knows that it would be exciting if we had another wet weather race a little bit later, but hopefully without the sort of 40-minute or so delay. Norbert Kish takes the win by 20.25 seconds over Antonio Albacete, with Sascha Lenz finishing in third place. Jochen Hahn drops down to fourth from second on the grid. He'll be hating that, but still, we know that Jochen will want to fight back ahead of his main rivals in the reverse grid race later on. Steffi Halm will start in fifth place. Finished in fifth place, my apologies, with Jamie Anderson sixth, Andre Kurzim seventh, and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez not only winning the Promoters' Cup in that race, but putting himself in a position where he will start on pole for the next race with all of those Titan drivers between himself and Louis Riquenco, who was next up in ninth place. Stefan Fast was 10th, then it was John Newell and Mark Taylor at the back of the grid. Those two, again, will be looking to push forward later on, but always going after those little improvements as the weekend continues. Can you believe that these shots are the same racetrack, the same location that we had just a moment ago? It's insane. It was only about half an hour ago that it was absolutely, well, maybe about 45 minutes, 50 minutes. It was pelting it down not long ago, but this is the same place. There's heat haze, there's people without umbrellas and coats. It's remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. But that's why we love some of the venues that we go to in this championship, because they have their own climates completely. It's like everybody says about the Nürburgring. The weather in the Nürburgring is different to everywhere else in the world, because you never know what it could do from 1 minute to the next. And Slovakia Ring has proved to us here that we don't know that either. And to be fair, as Norbert Kish said, we've not had a wet weather race here before. So it certainly shows that it's only got to be a 10-15 minute window for it to really rain, and that's when you'll find out just how much it can rain in Slovakia. But still, we've had a great first race of the weekend, and we're now going to get our drivers up on the podium. And they're doing it in descending order this time, which is different. Norbert Kish up for P1, Antonio Albacete next up, and then in third position, a very well-deserved podium for Sascha Lenz, his third podium of the season. Fourth podium for Antonio Albacete. He has the most podiums so far this season, actually. 4 out of 5 races so far for him. And is that the fan from the grandstand earlier? Or is that, I believe that's our representative from MAN who is up there. There's all of the team members and personnel down in the pit lane. And then the trophies handed out to our drivers. Antonio Albacete, that's his 283rd podium. So I'm imagining by now he's got quite the trophy cabinet, because that's 283 podiums only in this championship. And if you look at his resume, well, he's raced in just about everything. He was Spanish Formula Renault champion, touring car champion. He's been manufacturer driver for 3 different manufacturers in CET in Spain. And there you go. Norbert Kish gets another trophy to add to his collection as well. That's his 172nd appearance on the podium and 82nd race win. There you go, the quietest national anthem in the world there, it seems. And as you could see from Antonio Albacete, trophy placement on the podium is very, very important. And there are all the teams waiting down in the pit lane to celebrate with their drivers, as now they pose for photos on the top step. There's normally the changing of the caps procedure, as I call it, where the drivers have their own hats, their own branded hats to wear for the pictures, instead of the beautiful white Goodyear ones that they get. Still trying to get hold of one of them myself, to be fair. But there you go. Our top 3, Norbert Kish, Antonio Albacete and Sascha Lenz. I was alluding there to Antonio Albacete's career and how many amazing victories, podiums and all sorts he's got. He's a 3-time European truck racing champion. He's won in Formula Renault. He's won in touring cars. He's won in just about everything. As Sascha Lenz decides that the overalls and everybody else around are going to get drenched even more. It's already been raining, so why not make it a lovely rain shower of champagne, eh? Norby's going to try and soak some of those down in the pit lane. Sasha's going to get Norby here, look. He's always mischievous with the champagne, is Sasha. And this is the sort of camaraderie that we love in the championship. Everybody gets on so well. It's just a great positive place to be, you know. We've had a 40-minute or so delayed race, and still everybody is out there having a really good time. Norbert Kish does take the lead of the championship, though, but look at that. 2 points between himself, Jochen Hahn, and Antonio Alberthetti. Then there's a 10-point gap back to Sasha Lenz, and Andre Kurzim is in 5th place, 1 point ahead of the amazing Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. What a fantastic start to the campaign he's had in 6th position. Stefan Faas next up with Steffi Halm 8th, John Newell inside the top 10, and Jonathan Andre, who unfortunately isn't here this weekend, rounds out your top 10. Behind them, we have Jamie Anderson now in 11th place with the 6 points that he's just scored there. Heinrich Clemens-Hecker, another driver not with us this weekend, ahead of Louis Requenco and Mark Taylor with 3 points overall in the championship so far. Louis Requenco actually moving ahead of Mark there as well with those points scored in that race. Here are the trophies handed out to the Promoters Cup drivers. These are the chrome-rated drivers in our field. That is Jose Eduardo Rodriguez taking the victory in class.
Sales director of the MAN Dragon Bus, Slovak Republic.
We have our next trophy ready to be given out. Beautiful looking trophies for this weekend. There's a great collection of silverware and different trophies given out over the course of the season.
And now the national anthem for the winner of the
Louis Requenco has been given his trophy, and there is the trophy for Stefan Faas. I think they've, yeah. So as you can see there, the trophies. I thought Jose Eduardo Rodriguez's trophy was rather small for the class winner there, and then Stefan Faas with seemingly the biggest trophy. But as you heard him ask Louis Requenco there whether he had the right one, and Louis was saying he would prefer the first place trophy, obviously, but still a great job by those guys there in that class, and great entertainment from them as well. Good battles all the way through the pack there. It was great to watch. And we look forward to seeing more of the drivers in the Promoters Cup battling out later on. But it looks like Jose Eduardo Rodriguez will have it all wrapped up from pole position in the second race. Don't forget we have a reverse grid for our second and fourth races of the weekend. Whoever finishes in 8th will then be on pole position for those races. So we're going to now have a quick word with Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, and Christina is there just in front of the podium to have a chat with him.
Yeah, so it's been raining. I mean, that's the main theme today. A chuva está o melhor tópico do dia. Como é que era?
Foi muito difícil, a pista estava muito escorregadia, tivemos algumas dificuldades, pouca tração, mas conseguimos fazer uma boa corrida, principalmente isso, e ter bom ritmo.
So he said we had a great rhythm, although of course it was sometimes a bit slippery on the track, but we had found our line. So he's, I suppose he's quite happy right now. A garrafa ainda está fechado. The bottle is still closed. Why?
Para a minha equipa, vamos beber bocadinho ali no paddock.
So he said he's spending everything for his, of course, his team who's supporting him. Now, how is the team supportive? Como está a equipa a ajudar?
Sim, estamos a conseguir gerir bem, um campeonato novo para mim, para já está a correr bem e principalmente estamos a conseguir muito bons pontos para a Promoters Cup, que é o mais importante.
Muito obrigado. So he said, of course, the team is helping him very, very much. And it's a new championship for him. Of course, he's very, very much experienced in the French championship. He won that. But, of course, the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship, that's another level. That's the top of the league, the top of the pops. And, of course, but I think he's adapting very, very good. So right now you can see the championship standing and, of course, the Promoters Cup. And he gained some points. Then back to you, Chaz.
Yeah, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, as I said before, having an amazing start to his campaign here in the Promoters Cup. Now on 79 points to the 61 of Stefan Faas. Those two now 21 points ahead of John Newell, who moves up into third place, with Jonathan Andre dropping into 4th. Heinrich Clemens Hecker still holds on to 5th position for this moment in time, ahead of Mark Taylor on 29 points and Louis Riquenco on 27. But it's definitely Jose Eduardo Rodriguez's championship so far, and we're only at the beginning of the second race meeting of the season. He's certainly stamping some great authority on it here. Really lovely to see. There's team members and personnel all now moving away from the pit lane, being urged to, well, go away basically, back into the paddock or wherever they should be. And then it will be time to prepare for the later race. Now, I've been told that the next race, obviously race 2 of the weekend, will be delayed. It will be starting a lot later than planned. So we will need to obviously make some changes to when we go live for that a little bit later on. So I'm not going to confirm a definite time yet. I've not heard anything solid at this moment in time, but we'll see. There will be understandably a delay there because we're not the only championship here this weekend like we can be sometimes. We are sharing the circuit and the venue with a lot of other championships as well, so they will need to move their races around or maybe have races shifted forward, so then we can continue to have our full process with our green flag laps and grid walk and so on before our second race of the weekend. So we'll wait and see for further solid news on that. I don't want to be telling you lot times and then everybody coming back at the wrong time and missing the race or being here too early and so on. I can't have that on my conscience, sorry. But still, we hope you will join us for said second race of the weekend, where we will have the reverse grid. So it's going to be Rodriguez on pole position alongside Andrei Kurzim. But ahead of all that excitement, we'll head back down to Christina, who's got a few more words for us.
And what a great timing. The sun is out and of course everyone, the fans are heading to the paddock also, trying to get some autographs, some pictures without the rain. So we are in a good mood right now. I hope you are too. We will see and be back at right, it's 5:15. That's the new time because everything is a bit rescheduled right now. But we are so glad we have seen some great action here despite the rain, and we are still in a good mood, and we will be back for race number 2 this weekend here at the Slovakia Ring at 5:15. Please tune in, and we are trying to get some good pictures right down there for you too. So until then, bye bye.
So as you see, everybody, it started out as a bit of an unsure affair of what the weather was going to do here at the Slovakia Ring. Team members and all of the crowd were watching to the skies to see what would happen. And then all of a sudden, the downpour came, and would you look at it? Can you believe this was the same place we've just had the shots from a moment ago? We had a long delay of the race to about 40 minutes before we then got rolling once again with a green flag lap, and all of the amazing staff that we have and all of the fans and everybody around the circuit were all very patient as we waited to get underway. And hats off to everyone involved for their patience. And thank you, of course, for everyone that stuck around and enjoyed the race with us that we eventually got going in rainy conditions. It certainly dried out by the end though, and it was a very different kettle of fish when we had been done. Race got underway then with Norbert Kish leading the way in yellow flag conditions, so no overtaking for the first lap of the race meant that he could just find where the grip was and not feel any pressure from anyone behind. There was drama early on with Stefan Faas going straight on, Louis Riquenco having drama, as well as Andrei Kurzim, who had a bit of an excursion into the gravel. He eventually recovered though and started gaining places once again, which showed that he's definitely got the pace this weekend, come rain or shine. Jamie Anderson held on well ahead of Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. Some of the battles in the middle, nearly going 3 wide at certain points. Sasha Lenz was trying to chase down Antonio Alberthetti for second place in the race, but nobody could get near Norbert Kish, who eventually was the race winner. Jochen Hahn was closing down on Sasha Lenz though after his early mistake dropped him down a couple of places, and the German wanted to get another podium and close in on Antonio Alberthetti's record. Sasha threw absolutely everything at the number 23 MAN, but eventually opened himself up to a manoeuvre from Jochen Hahn, which we think punctured the right rear tyre on his number 3 truck. Steffi Halm pulled off this amazing manoeuvre on Jamie Anderson around the outside at turn 3 and down the inside at turn 4, while Norbert Kish took the race victory for the 3rd time this year in only the 5th race of the championship. So that's going to be all from us here for the first race of the weekend, and we will see you again very, very soon for race 2 this afternoon, where we hope there will be more shine in the sky rather than the rain that we had for race 1. We'll catch you in a little bit, everybody. Have a good one.